So welcome to the workshop. Let's have an update on where we're at with our Austin 7 Ruby. It's been an eventful few weeks. We've actually got the engine stripped apart. I'll show you that in a moment. We believe we've found the cause of the rumbling noise, and you know, those of you that know Austin 7s will know exactly what it was, but obviously I'm rather new to this. My son's only 15, he's rather new to it too. But anyway, we've found the cause, what we believe is the cause, and I'll show you that in a moment. There's our Ruby, patiently waiting for her engine to be returned to her and to get out to some more active service. It's actually raining hard at the moment. It's a typical November day, but we've got a few moments in the workshop here just to give you a bit of an update as to where we're at. So let's have a look at the engine then. So I'm just going to turn the camera around. Okay, so here is the engine, looking a little sad for itself. Let's put a bit of light on the situation, if I can unhook it. Okay, so we've got quite a lot of varnishing going on inside the engine, as you can possibly see. I don't think that's going to come through too well. You can see it on the end of the crank actually, just there. So we've had a bit of a clean up. That's an understatement. We've been cleaning and cleaning and cleaning. So much sludge, you wouldn't believe how much sludge was in our engine. We'd actually, the car had stood for many years. We reckon on about 40 years the car had stood. So obviously we changed the first lot of oil, and the first lot of oil that we put in there was nice and new. We'd changed that as well, and we'd cleaned out the sump a couple of times. So you know, we was quite surprised to find yet more sludge, and there was quite a bit of sludge actually in the nose cone to the engine. So was it around the end here? Oh, here we go. So here's our nose cone. So where this goes on, there was actually a lot of sludge all built up in there as well, and the engine had actually been stored outdoors at some point. So in the piece where the starting handle goes, there was actually mud in there, believe it or not. Mud and dirt, soil. So that's been jet washed out as well. So we've run well, the usual places. So those of you that know an Austin 7 engine will know the oil ways. So we've got a plug there. These aren't fully tightened up yet. We need to get some new fibre washers on these to get them properly tightened up. We've taken like this one off. We've got the jet covers as well, and obviously the other end of the engine. There are oil way openings, and of course where the pressure release goes in there, the pressure release ball. And then at the top here we've got these two, so they can come out, and we've used brushes, some bottle brushes, which we got hold of, so off of Amazon. I think this set here cost me, it was less than £5, I think, believe it or not, but they've worked so well. We've actually cleaned out a lot of the oil ways really well, just using those basic brushes. We've got lots of degreaser, and we've been flushing it and cleaning it and flushing it. Maybe we've been going a bit over the top, but we want to make sure we get a good job done on this. And yet, you know, inside the engine here there is still varnishing. I think the only solution here, there's a lot needs to be wiped off here. Just what I've been working on the top, just turn the engine up on its end to get a view in there. Anyway, so the cover for this obviously needs to go back on. That's got a lot of scoring on the side that touches the vanes here, so I'm going to get that flattened off before I put it back on. So that's going to help with our oil pressure. A new pressure release valve will help maintain some oil pressure. So the reason why we had a grumbling engine, oh, this is the old one, by the way. I wouldn't drop the new one. Hopefully not, anyway. So this is the bearing that goes on the end here, and you probably noticed that I've just put that on with my fingers. This actually spins on the crank, and that's our first problem. So the old bearing wasn't a good tight fit. The bearing in its holder, yeah, it's not a great, you know, there's definitely wear there. And you know, not being an expert on engines, I've come to the conclusion that that was a bad thing. So we've got a new bearing for the back there, and also the was it the end of the conrod there, the big end cover. that one there. The other, so number 1, 2 and 3 were all very, very tight. When it come to undo this one, it had split pins in it, but it wasn't very tight. You know, it was tighter than finger tight, but it wasn't as tight as I would expect. So we're going to get them all tightened up before we put the split pins in this time. Plus we've got a new bearing, so let's have a look at our new bearing, which will be awkward to undo one-handed, but we shall do so. Okay, so we've got a nice new bearing here, and I've been asking around on the forums for some advice on this new bearing because it's different to the old one. This is a good thing in one way. The first way that it's different is that it doesn't just slide onto the crank. It's going to be a tight fit on there, so it's going to be awkward to get on, which is the right thing, of course. So it will not spin on the crank. But also you can see there it's got a lip on that side, whereas it's flat on that side. So general consensus is, so there's a Lost in 7 Friends website where you can ask questions. You got Rory Dunford, probably knows everything there is to know about engines. The person that sold me the bearing, A7 Components, if I got that right, A7C I think, yep. So they don't know which way, so nobody really knows which way round to fit it, and the supplier has contacted the manufacturer, or the agent for the manufacturer I believe, and yeah, no one's really got an opinion as to whether this bearing needs to go in one way or another. So someone at one of our club meets suggested the end with the lip, put that on facing the crankshaft. That'll probably be the best place to put it. So we're going to do that. And seeing as it looks like it matters very little which way on it goes, then that'll be absolutely fine. So that's good. I was a little bit concerned. Didn't want to go to all this effort and put the bearing on the wrong way round, which would have been a disaster in my opinion. So we've also got in here, in our box of goodies, we've got loads of new parts, by the way, but from a different supplier. We've got ourselves a new seal, because our old one, well, and you know, those of you that know Austin 7 engines will know what I'm going to say. The scroll inside our old one is well, it's not really there, it's broken. It was full of sludge, obviously. Everything's full of sludge in this car. But the seal, the scroll, yeah, it's broken. So we're going to do away with that. Put the new seal on there. This should give us a nice oil-tight seal. Rub a bit of engine oil on it before we put it on. And as far as I can tell, should be a straight one-for-one replacement. I know there's lots of advice on various bits to do with putting an engine back together. So we'll take any advice we can get, of course. And then one final thing, the carrier. So this goes, the bearing goes inside this, and this goes inside the crankcase. So getting the old bearing out of this was a little bit awkward, because it's a very tight fit in there, and there's not much protruding past it. So the old bearing, this part, is inside there from the other side, obviously. So knocking this out was awkward, but there's a modification where you can make two, like you know, half circle slots either side, and then when we come to do this again, because we've got no real plans to get rid of this car, so when we come to change the rear bearing again, because it's the bit that's going to go, we'll be able to knock this bearing out that we're about to put in quite easily and comfortably. So there we go, that's where we're up to. A lot of cleaning. We've got new gaskets, we've got new pressure release valve. What else have we got? We've got various new bits. So we're going to get this put back together again in a reasonably clean, certainly sludge-free engine. Whether it will be varnish-free, well, it won't be varnish-free because there's too much there. I can't strip it completely apart and take the front bearings out, so it's going to have some varnishing in there. But we're going to get rid of all the sludge. We're going to get it all rebuilt, and with any luck, we're going to get it back on the road in a few weeks' time, and I'll give you an update on a video such as this when we do so. So thank you for watching this one, and look forward to seeing you in the next one.